I'm Rip Esselstyn, and you're listening to the Plantstrong podcast. Can you believe that we have rounded the corner to over 300 episodes of the Plantstrong podcast? I can, because I feel it, and it's been great. But since 2019, our hope is that we've been your trusted companion, keeping you inspired, informed, and empowered on your whole plant journey. Now, to celebrate this milestone, I thought it'd be fun to drop a short, entertaining, and wildly informative mini-sode with my producer, Carrie Barrett, with our tips for eating whole food plant-based when traveling, and yes, even when eating out at restaurants. That's coming up right after this word from Plantstrong. Whether you're building your first plant-based pantry or restocking your favorites, Plantstrong makes it simple. With our new bundle builder, you can handpick any 10 items of your choice. For example, pizza kits, cereals, chili, burgers, and sauces, you name it. You save 10%, or you can subscribe and save 15% with free shipping. It's flexible, it's affordable, and it's always 100% whole food, Plantstrong. Build yours today at plantstrong.com. A few months ago, we here at Plantstrong, we sent out a survey to all of you, along with our customers, asking, tell us your biggest struggles or challenges with eating a whole food plant-based diet. Well, over 1,000 of you responded, and a few common themes kept bubbling up. So I thought it would be fun to bring on my longtime producer of the podcast, Carrie Barrett, to address some of these topics and give you our honest and authentic advice. Carrie has been whole food plant-based for over 16 years. She's also a coach, marathoner, a triathlete, and dare I say, a new fan of pickleball. She's also an integral part of our retreat team and talks directly with many of our listeners on a daily basis. So today, we're going to address one of the biggest hurdles, and that's how do you navigate traveling and eating out at restaurants. So let's just dive right in. Welcome back to another episode of the Plantstrong podcast. Here I am with Carrie again, and we're going to do our thing.
Yeah, I love these little mini-sodes where you've invited me in as not just your producer, but as sort of the every woman who is employing this lifestyle in my daily life. And the challenges that we get from people and the questions that we get from people are all the same issues that I deal with on a daily basis and that you deal with on a daily basis. And I mean, there are tips and tricks that we can share and that we're excited to share. And this is a big topic, Rip. This is a huge topic for all of us.
So what's the next topic we're going to dive into?
We're going to talk about traveling and eating out at restaurants. Whew, boy.
You know what? It's so let me just start by saying that I look at this as an adventure. And how can I make this lifestyle work, meaning whole food, Plantstrong, as best as I possibly can, even if I'm traveling, if I eat out, and do it in a culture that does not support me in this endeavor. And so I think if you look at it that way, is let's figure out how to make it work, even when all the odds are stacked against us. And then that makes it an exciting adventure as opposed to, oh my God, I can't make this work. This is too difficult. Nobody wants to like work with me here. There's no compromise. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have this. I'll start with a story that I think we can all relate to. So it was right before the holiday season, and I was getting together for a girls' night. There were 4 of us going out to dinner, and somebody picked the restaurant that was not me, and of course, it's not a vegan restaurant, and in fact, it is more of a steakhouse than anything else. And so right away, I want the audience to feel the panic with me.
Yeah, right.
Feel the stress rise in your gut like it does mine every time someone else gets to pick the restaurant. And I was like, okay. And they know the way I eat. But again, I'm like, all right, I can go along. And I looked, the first thing that I did was go online and look at the menu.
Right.
And that way there was no awkward moments. There were no awkward moments with any of us when it came to ordering. And I knew exactly what was on their menu. I knew every vegetable that they had. And when I did get there, I pulled our server aside, and I was like, all right, hey, I'm just kind of the creepy vegan. Do you have any dishes that you make that are maybe not on menu? And so it was an easy deflection then, and I was able to get what I wanted. But I understand that stress, Rip, of like, oh my God, I don't want to do this, but here we go.
Well, what's interesting about what you just said there is that you almost, without knowing it, were employing an acronym that I have been using forever, and I've told people and I've written about it for well over a decade, and that is this is when you're eating out at restaurants, and the acronym is FAB, F-A-B. The F stands for figure out what you can eat. Take a look at that menu, and what is it that does meet with your dietary restrictions? And typically, you've all heard this, you can make it work at a steakhouse, and you just get all the sides, right? You get the sweet potato, steak cut fries, you get the side of broccoli, the eggplant, you get a big old salad, but you can make it work. And typically those steakhouses have great sides.
They have sweet potatoes as big as your head. I mean, they are some of the best.
Yeah.
They are some of the best
and then
places.
Like Mexican restaurants, I just get a side of black beans, rice, a bunch of veggies, and then I say, can you send me some corn tortillas, like 10 corn tortillas that are just steamed? And then I make my own tortillas there, right? A little tortilla taco factory there at my chair. But so the FAB is figure out what you can eat. The A, and you did this beautifully when you pulled the waiter aside in your example, is ask for what you want. Remember, you're the customer here. Typically, most restaurants want to please the customer. And so don't feel bashful. And I love the way you did it. You didn't create a scene. You pulled the waiter over and, as opposed to doing it in front of everybody. And you just said, hey, is there any way that I could get, this, and this? And I tell people, you can always call ahead.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I've done that before as well.
If you know the restaurant ahead of time, and you can let them know your dietary restrictions. But you can also ask the waiter, is there any way you could ask the chef if instead of doing this stir fry in oil, they could do it with orange juice, water, beer, wine, anything besides, the oil that's 120 calories per tablespoon.
Right.
And you'd be amazed how many times the chef is happy to comply. Or you can go to a place and just say, hey, this is how I eat. Could you ask the chef if he could whip up something that is compliant? And they'll do something. And I have found so many times that when we're taking an international flight, because the only time you get the meals now are on international flights. They stopped them domestically about maybe 15 years ago.
I was going to suggest that when you're traveling, get the vegan meal.
But I don't get the vegetarian, because the vegetarian, they always have some sort of dairy in there. But you get the vegan, or depending upon, sometimes it's even plant-based. Yeah. But you get that meal, and 9 times out of 10, it's a home run.
And you get it first. Pro tip, if you're flying, especially internationally, put your request in for the vegan meal. They come out first.
Yeah. and then the B, and this is going to be applicable to a lot of things that we're going to talk about here, but the B is bring your own food, dressing, condiments, whatever it is, depending upon where you're going. Well, I'll give you an example, and then I'd love to hear some of your examples.
Sure.
But so my example is, and I mentioned it in one of the earlier episodes, is we love, as a family, going to the Alamo Draft House. It's a place where you sit down, you watch a movie, but they also serve you at your seat. I always get the pizza without cheese, the red sauce with roasted onions and mushrooms. It's phenomenal. But I also typically will get a big old salad that they serve there. And they have a great, I can't remember the name of the salad, but it comes with all kinds of things, but I can't stand the dressing. So I bring my own dressing that's hidden in my little man purse. And then I pull it out at the appropriate time. So that's just an example.
That's a great example. I have many that I could share, but one that sticks out is my late dad, my late father. One of his favorite places to eat was Longhorn Steakhouse. So after he passed, and I was in Ohio for all the celebrations of life, my family wanted to go to Longhorn Steakhouse in his honor. Big family, like everyone. There were probably 20 of us there. And so I went and air fried, before we left the house, I went and I air fried a block of organic tofu and heated it up. When I got to Longhorn Steakhouse, I did what we've already shared, which was I got a salad. I just got balsamic vinegar. I just asked them for balsamic vinegar for my dressing. Gigantic sweet potato, side of broccoli, and I threw my little slab of tofu on that salad. And I was sort of the envy of the family. And it's amazing how many times when you get something that's maybe a little off menu, how many people look at your dish and go, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
It happens more than you could imagine. And so those are my tricks for eating out. When it comes to travel, much like you with your man purse, I am never without my little collapsible lunch pail with me.
Yeah.
And I don't care if my flight is 2 hours or an overnight flight. I always have that thing stacked with snacks or fruit that I've purchased before I've left the house. Now, keep it in mind that you cannot pack hummus, you cannot pack peanut butter, but you can pack a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or you can pack a wrap that has hummus on it. You just have to be careful with TSA because they will confiscate some things. But I always have like the little cutie oranges, bananas, sandwiches, snacks, that little edamame, like dried edamame you can get. You can even find some of that at the airport. I know Dr. Dawn Musalem did a little Instagram story on how she eats with all of her travels. And she found soy nuts at an airport and just snacks on those. That was something that she had along with some fruit and stuff. So that's a big tip.
Yeah, and I do all the same things that you do. I do typically fruit that travels well, oranges, apples, bananas. I always put them at the very top of my backpack and eat those usually first. I love, like you, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I make them on the Ezekiel 4.9 bread, and depending upon how long it's going to be till I get to my destination, I'll either make 1 or 3 of those. And there's been many times when I've had one the next day. And then I always carry a bag of either the chocolate granola, the Plantstrong chocolate granola, or one of the cereals, the Ritz Big Bowl cereals. And that way, for example, I can go to Starbucks, I can go to any coffee shop or smoothie shop and then just say, hey, will you sell me a 8-ounce glass of milk? Half the time, they give it to me for free. And I let them know it's for my cereal.
Yeah.
And then I ask for a bowl as well, and then I mix it up and make it. and it's awesome.
That's fantastic. The granola, I can assure you, saved me at an airport one time. We were coming back from our last retreat in Sedona last fall, and I got stuck in Denver for the night because of flight delays and misconnections. But guess what I had? I had leftover granola from the retreat, and that was my dinner that night, and it was my breakfast the following morning on the way to the airport. So, easily carry on a bowl.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just it. It's like, don't catch yourself unprepared. Find ways to have something on hand. And if you are a traveling executive, for instance, and you are always on the go, you should have a routine. And you should create a routine of like, these are the things that I never leave home without.
Well, and I'll just give you an example. Like John Mackey, CEO of Whole Foods, traveled over 100 days a year for multiple decades. And once he went whole food plant-based, pretty much around 2005-ish, he would travel with his own rice cooker, a miniature rice cooker.
Yeah.
And so he would make that in his hotel room. He would typically try and find a place to stay that had a kitchen in it so he could make his own food. He also, especially nowadays, you can order from Instacart or any of these services and order your groceries from the closest grocery store, and a lot of times have them, like Uber, have them delivered right to your hotel. And now you've got basically everything that you could want for the 2 days or a week that you're there. So again, I love what you said, prepare ahead of time, figure out a routine that works for you, and then stick by it.
Just stick to it. Yeah, another little travel food that we like to get a lot when we can are just the veggie sushi rolls that if you can find them with brown rice, even better. And take those with you on the plane, and we load up. I mean, I'll have like 4 packs of them on the plane, and that way, once again, people are looking over at you like, man, you did good. Like, I would rather have that than this bag of Doritos or whatever it is, So I think preparation is key here, and that is the key to almost everything that we're talking about with Plantstrong is just being prepared. And I think one of the things that we should talk about in a future episode is that barrier of timing and meal prep. So how do you fit it all in and get meals prepared? And so I think we'll talk about that in a next episode.
But so for this episode, remember FAB, figure out what you can eat at those restaurants, look at that menu, ask for what you want, bring your own food, and then when you're traveling, plan ahead, pack food so a hungry stomach doesn't turn you into somebody that's going to have weakened willpower and do something that you're going to regret. And there you have it.
I love it.
All right.
Keeping it Plantstrong on the road.
Plantstrong. I want to thank Carrie for co-hosting this mini episode with me. I also want to thank all of you for sharing your fears, hesitations, and any burning questions that you have. And the next time that you go out to eat, remember the acronym FAB. F, look at that menu and figure out what you can eat. A, whether it's the waiter or the waitress, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And then lastly, B, bring your own food, salad dressing, whatever it might be. This will help alleviate some of the stress by planning ahead, and I can almost guarantee you're going to have a wonderful and very healthy night out. If you happen to have any other suggestions or ideas or tips, please share them at speakpipe.com/Plantstrong. I'll say that one more time because it's kind of tricky. speakpipe.com/Plantstrong. And you never know, we may just play a few of them on a future episode. We've got a few more coming up, and Carrie and I can't wait to rock and roll with all of you guys again in the future. All right, you guys remember to always always keep it Plantstrong. The Plantstrong podcast team includes Carrie Barrett, Lori Kordowich, and Amy Mackey. If you like what you hear, do us a favor and share the show with your friends and loved ones. You can always leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And while you're there, make sure to hit that follow button so that you never miss an episode. As always, this and every episode is dedicated to my parents, Dr. Caldwell B. Esselstyn Jr. and Anne Cryle Esselstyn. Thanks so much for listening.